Welcome to the London Property Podcast, your trusted guide through the complex and ever-evolving world of London real estate. We help clients manage, protect, and grow their property wealth by connecting them with the right expertise from finance, law, and tax to construction, design, and strategic advice. Through conversations with industry leaders, we bring you clear, practical insight into the trends, challenges, and opportunities shaping the market. Let's dive in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the London Property Podcast. I'm your host, Farnaz, and today we're talking about the death of the amateur landlord was inevitable. The dinner party buy-to-let era is over. Who will survive and who is replacing the mum-and-pop landlords? Legislation, taxation, and institutional capital are squeezing out the hobbyists. For 2 decades, the recipe for British wealth creation was deceptively simple. Buy a flat, put a tenant in it, and wait. You didn't need to be a property expert. You just needed a deposit and a rising market. That era officially ended in October 2025. With the passing of the Renters' Rights Act, the landscape has shifted so violently that the amateur landlord, the person managing a couple of units alongside a day job, is becoming an endangered species. The math has fundamentally changed, accelerating a shift from individual ownership toward institutional build-to-rent dominance. Here is why close to 37% of the landlords are leaving the stage, and what the future of property investing looks like.
You're listening to the London Property Podcast. We help clients manage, protect, and grow their property wealth. If you find this conversation useful, don't hesitate to get in touch. Now, back to the conversation.
The regulatory squeeze. The passive income dream is now an active compliance job. The Renters' Rights Act, passed October 2025, has removed the safety valves that amateur landlords relied on. The end of control. Section 21, evictions are abolished effective May 2026. Indefinite tenancies. Fixed-term tenancies are gone. Landlords now face indefinite rolling tenancies and must prove specific legal grounds to evict. The reality of enforcement. If you do have grounds to evict, you are at the mercy of a court system where delays are averaging 32 weeks. For a large portfolio, a 32-week void is a line item. For a small landlord with a mortgage to pay, it is a solvency crisis. The tax attack. If the regulation requires more work, the government is ensuring you get to keep less of the profit. The fiscal environment has turned hostile toward the small investor. Income tax hikes. From 2027, landlords face a 2% hike in property income tax. The wealth levy. The November budget introduced a mansion tax, high-value council tax surcharge, effective from 2028 on properties over £2 million. Entry costs. This is on top of the existing 3% stamp duty surcharge for second homes and an additional 2% if you are an overseas buyer. The days of tax-efficient casual letting are behind us. The taxman now requires a piece of the pie so large that for many, the yield simply doesn't justify the risk. The Great Exodus. The result of this pincer movement, higher effort, lower reward, is a mass departure. Nearly a third of private landlords now plan to sell up, citing rising regulation and reduced profitability. This isn't a trickle, it's an exodus. And as these amateurs exit, they are shrinking the supply pool just as tenant demand hits record highs. Enter the professionals, the build-to-rent boom. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the property market. As the small landlord retreats, institutional capital is stepping in. The scale. Investment in the build-to-rent BTR sector hit £2.6 billion in just the first 9 months of 2025. The shift. These aren't just city centre apartments anymore. Investors are increasingly targeting single-family housing, SFH, in commuter belts, scalable, lower risk, and professionally managed. The market share, BTR, now accounts for 8% of all new build completions in England and Wales. These institutions want regulation. They have legal teams to handle the Renters' Rights Act and balance sheets to absorb the tax changes. They are professionalizing a sector that was previously the domain of the individual. The verdict: investing isn't dead, amateurism is. This doesn't mean you shouldn't invest in property. It means you can no longer afford to be casual about it. The market is bifurcating. On one side, you have the accidental or hobby landlords exiting in droves. On the other, you have serious investors who treat property as a business. If you are staying in the game, the rules have changed. Don't buy average. You must acquire best-in-breed assets. Average properties with average yields will not survive the new tax burden. You need a shield against legislative volatility. Trying to navigate more than 400 regulations with a mobile phone and a template tenancy agreement is now a liability. You need to identify where the off-market value lies, rather than fighting over scraps on Rightmove. The death of the amateur landlord isn't the death of the market, it's the maturation of it. The question is, are you ready to turn pro? As always, here at London Property, we help you make informed decisions. Any questions, just ask at londonproperty.co.uk.
Thanks for listening to the London Property Podcast. If you'd like guidance on managing, protecting, or growing your property wealth, get in touch. We're here to help. And if this episode proved valuable, share it with someone who takes the market seriously and make sure you're following so you never miss an update.